Proverbs 4, 2. We got one like, but nobody on the show. Just chilling. Oh, there's somebody is. Hey, what's up, Scott? Shalom. Good evening. I was super bored, and I was like, you know what, man? I'm just gonna get online and say hi to people and probably talk about the Bible. Appreciate you. What you up to tonight? Just scrolling on your phone? That's what I was doing. I was like, ugh, enough of this nonsense. Shalom, brother. What are you guys up to tonight, man? I'm super duper freaking. I was just tired of being inside, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go out and do a live. And then I started to, and then I stopped, and I started to, and I stopped, and I was like, dude, it's already like 8:40 at night. Oh, sweet. What audiobook? Looks like we got 4 people on here. Yeah, Proverbs. I was looking at some notes I have. Um, Wild Rose. Oh, trippy. Okay. No, I was going over my notes when I cracked my Bible open, and these are notes that were in like these were like in my Bible from like I don't even know when, like 3 or 4 years ago, and they were in my camper. I think they were MIA for a while, anyhow. And I saw them the other day, and I was like, "Ooh, my notes!" And it's got like a lot of the like first coming to Torah, like it's like talking about like different sins, what is sin, like a lot of the stuff that I still touch on today because I think really it was really like good. Hi, Patty. It was really good for me to remember where I started. But Proverbs uh, 4:2, which is fire. I don't know if you guys ever read that one, but that one I love that one because it pretty much says it all. Um, I'll read it to you really quick because it's short. It says, "For I gave you good instruction, forsake not my Torah." And super duper basic, but I like it in other translations too. If you use like, I like the YouVersion Bible app because you can just highlight it by holding your finger on it and then hit the little compare button, and it'll bring up a whole mess of different translations, and it kind of helps me study, understand stuff a little bit different from different perspective. Well, thanks, Lone Star Living. Yeah, it's been a journey, homie. I heard a little something in the grapevine and in the universe, something about you might be making a deal with Twitch. I don't know. No, that's not you. That's somebody else. But brother Twitch, I think he's going back to. I think he's back in law enforcement now. Yeah, and actually, I think that wasn't Lone Star Living. I think it was Texas T. But kind of the same name for me, Texas stuff. Well, Scott, man, if you got any questions about anything, you can hit us up. A lot of the I think when you're new coming to the way is like you'll hear regular Christians, they'll they'll pull up Paul's writings and what Paul's writings are, and like this, just kind of, yeah, not you, I'm tracking, but it it's like when they pull up Paul's writings and they're like, look, Paul says this. Well, there's a couple angles from Paul's writings that sound super duper confusing because he says we're not under the law and we should keep the law, like almost in the same chapter. So, one of the things for me is you got to remember those are letters he's writing to different cities and churches. And he's writing those letters to them for a specific reason. And what that reason is and the info that he got that he's responding to, we don't know. And so it's super duper easy to take that shit out of context because we don't really know exactly what's on the other end of that. And although his teachings are good, Peter himself says that his writings are really, his letters are very hard to understand. And so don't let that stuff get you in a twist. Just know that Paul's not writing to you, he's writing to a church. Not that he doesn't have valid stuff to learn, but like that, you can't build a whole doctrine off of Paul's teachings, which is most of the New Testament. Because if you build a doctrine off it, you've started your own religion again, and that's just kind of that's part of the problem. I think that the hypocritical part that I saw in most modern day Christianity in all religions really is it's where's the lines on who gets to do what. Is it okay for me to do this? It's not okay for me, but it's okay for the pastor or whatever, and I think that yeah, I don't know, YouTube's acting a fool lately, bro. Shalom. Anyhow, so for me, that's kind of some of the stuff that I really I get frustrated with when new guys coming in is you get a lot of modern day Christians or even family members and they start blasting a lot of Paul's writings to try to say, see, look, Paul says we don't have to do it. The easy way for me is, what does my Messiah say? And these are easy things to stand by in faith that are super basic, and they're good. Shit, they're good for me to still today, years later. But if something in the Bible is contrary to what Messiah says, then I know that I have to understand. Then I'm misunderstanding or misinterpreting what they're speaking about, and so I always fall back on Matthew 5:17 through 20, and out of his own mouth he says that we keep the law. My wife actually called me today. She was like, "Hey, so I saw this Facebook post." And I think this girl was keeping Torah, but she was under the assumption that the tassel law had been done away with. And I was like, well, how so? Well, because if it was still in play, then the guys that thought Paul was a Egyptian would have seen his tassels and known that he wasn't. And I'm like, if that's your only argument, homie, I get it, but and yeah, like the tassels they're here to be a reminder, but it does say through all your generations, so I'm pretty sure that's not done yet, and then also I think tzitzit, for me, I think when I wear them, I mean, I got a built-in forgetter. I don't know about you guys, but I'll slip up and forget the simplest of things. A lot of the time it's all based around love. Like, am I treating somebody with compassion? Am I looking at them through with the glasses that Yeshua would be looking at them with? And tassels, for me, it's a good PID for one, positively identify other Israelites, and then the other part of it too is it reminds me when I reach down to touch my tassels, or when I'm out there and I'm like getting cranky and I want to knock somebody out or something, like if I just brush up against one of those, I'm like, oh, I'm representing somebody else and I can't really be doing that. It's like wearing a motorcycle patch, like a club vest. Like, you don't just get to do whatever you want, if you're representing. That's just not how it works for me. So hold on, let me catch up on some of these. Shalom, guys. Oh, got 12 people on here already. Sweet. Hold on. Let me see what you're talking about, Kermode Bear. First Corinthians 11. Interesting conversation. So there's scripture on that, having your head covered, or why they cover their head. Um, there's one verse, and I was talking to Pastor Joe about it one day, and I think it has more to do with like priestly garments, or like a head covering for that. And there is a verse that says something like it's something, I can't remember the exact words, man. I'm gonna screw it up. But they were trying to say something to the effect of, it's not righteous for a man to pray with his head covered or uncovered. Like he needs to have a covering if he's gonna pray. And I don't know in the context. I think when we were looking at it, it was more like priestly garment stuff. But it's interesting because we were talking about like when people pray that they pop their hat off when they pray, and it's like, I don't think we actually have to do that. I think that's just like another man-made tradition that we adopted. And yeah, we know like most of us do it out of respect, but it's a trip. So I don't. Let me see. It says First Corinthians 11. And it was an interesting conversation. I don't know. I have to look at that one. Yeah, I was trying to go live last night on my channel. And I did a quick post saying, hey, go over to, I know a bunch of you guys were on there, but I was over on, I got invited to go on with Tactically Torah. And so me and him were going for a little while. But the shitty thing is when you do the split screen, if somebody invites you to their channel, your channel does not get a notification that you're live. And so I was trying to do a shout out really quick and have people come over, but I didn't notice until this morning that little vid I did ended up being private instead of public. So I don't know. It's weird. YouTube does some weird shit. What's going on with you guys, man? You guys have a good day at work? I did all right. I got wore out. I'm getting old, man. Being on my knees and moving heavy stuff sucks. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't find my knee pads, man. I could only find one of them, and I was doing tile, and I was just like the first part of the morning was doing a little bit of tile, and then I knew I had to do a bunch of more flooring after that, and I was about halfway, 3/4 through that, probably halfway, and yeah, Brother Heath was like just jumping in there and handling it. I was so grateful, man. I was like, dude, my fucking knees are killing me. Yeah, so here's a little extra history. I don't know if anybody on this channel knows. So I raced BMX for a lot of years, and I was like into the X Games stuff, and I didn't go and do X Games, but we rode and we did tricks and stuff like that. But I raced, and back then it was called ABA, American Bicycle Association, and they had that, and then they had NBL, which is National Bicycle Association, or League. That's what it was, National Bicycle League. And I raced in, I think, the early 90s, and I was pretty good. I did it a lot. I raced all over California, and I was pretty good. I mean, I got second place at the state championship when I was 15, and yeah, I was inspired by a movie that came out in 1984, or maybe even 1982. It was called Rad. And that movie is freaking epic. Matter of fact, I like it so much I bought it on YouTube because Every once in a while, I'll wake up at like 5 in the morning and be like, I'm gonna watch this show real quick because it gets me inspired. um, let's see. Yeah, I raced again too when I was in my 30s, and I guess my point was is when I started racing, I blew my knees out racing in Reno, Nevada, at the West Half United States Gold Cup qualifier, and I blew one of my knees out when I was about 15, and then I did that same knee again. Not even riding, man. It was stupid. I was working at a lake, and they had a boat rental place, and I was servicing all the ski boats, and they're up on lifts on the water, so they don't just sit in the water all the time. And I was hopping in and out of the boats, and they're only about maybe 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and I don't know, I was on like boat 6 or 8, I don't remember, and I hopped out of the last one, and when I hit the ground, I popped my ACL in my knee, just totally severed it, and dude, that put me down for like 2 years. I had no idea, and I didn't have insurance, so I never did go to the hospital. I didn't find out until about 5 years later when I blew my other ACL out of my other leg. And that time I was on a BMX track. I was hitting a jump at the end of the track, and I came off a little sideways, put my leg out, and pogo sticked it so hard. And I didn't crash. I saved the crash, but man, I wrecked my knee. It was so bad that my wife and another dude had to come get me off the track because I couldn't stand up and walk. Yeah, I couldn't even get up off the ground. I was hurt bad. Yeah, we're gonna do Shabbat shenanigans again. I love it when my wife's on here, man. She's she's amazing. I can't even keep up with her, and I'm super duper blessed to have her in my life. But yeah, we're gonna definitely do some Shabbat shenanigans again. Yeah, dude. So a bunch of us decided that we were gonna get together, no matter what, every Shabbat for a year. And it's kind of like a Torah school. It's basically you're making an agreement that at least 10 men are going to show up no matter what, for an entire year to study the Torah. And it's pretty cool, man. We did a meeting not that long ago with our peeps, and we were like, yeah, let's do this. And so I'm really blessed to see how many people are like really showing up, and it's just awesome to see my bros like inspired and doing the things. And I think we kind of needed that, like, hey, no matter what, we're gonna see you on Shabbat. Yeah, super duper painful, Patty. It sucked. Yeah, when I so like it's like I've done one knee twice and the other knee one time, and I did surgery. So what I ended up doing, so the last time I got hurt riding BMX, which I'm a big dude. I mean, I don't know, like some of you guys see me in person, but I'm about 285 and I'm about 6'1" and a half. And I was probably, when I blew my knee out, I think I was about 238, which is still pretty heavy. And that's a lot of weight, especially doing about 30 miles an hour in the air, to compact anything. And so BMX is a lot like dirt bikes. You just don't have a throttle. You got a pedal, and same size jumps for the most part. Um, but the last time I got hurt, the impact was so hard when I pogo stick my leg that I split my heel cartilage and shredded my meniscus with really big tears, and the outside was all frayed up. And then I blew my ACL totally. And I had surgery about 6 months later, and 2 weeks after surgery, this is before I was keeping away, I used a cadaver tendon, and 2 weeks after surgery, the tendon popped, and so I spent 2 years recovering again. I mean, it was probably 18 months before I could like kick a soccer ball without throwing my knee out of socket, and yeah, so it ain't been kind to me. But I lived a rough lifestyle, not taking care of myself either. So that's, a lot of that's my own bad. Catching up on the comments, guys. Where are you moving to, Kermo Bear? I mean, don't offsec nothing, but like my area. I think I'm back. What's up, Skip? Uh, yeah, copy that. Tracking Kermo Bear. Cool, man. That'll be fun. Yeah, I'll have to get you in the fellowship ring. Yeah, so it is full screen. I was trying to turn it sideways, and unfortunately, I'm not super techy, and I couldn't figure out how to go into my settings and swap it. And so this is what we got. I could just hit the button thingies, and then it lets me do this. Hey, what'd you guys think of that? If you guys saw the short, the one I did about how many animals came on the ark, because I was kind of trolling the internet with that one to see how many people would like jump on there, and then when they commented, a lot of like modern day Christians that haven't really researched the Bible much, they've kind of poked around in it or listened to some Sunday school stuff. A lot of them were like 2 by 2, and I was like, read it again. It says more than that. And so, like, really, what I'm trying to do is break people's paradigms and get them like reintroducing them to like, oh, it actually says more than I realize it says. A Dr. Phil episode. Come on, Skip, get off of that stuff, bro. It's propaganda. The best. Kebab very funny, bro. Yeah, I don't know why the comments are on top. Flip your phone around. Yeah, I got no clue. Mine are on the bottom, but yeah. So this camper that I'm in right now is we bought this one. So we've been in camper life for a hot minute, and I think one of the things that kind of pushed us into that was we just were really tired of paying rent on houses that weren't ours, and we were burned out on it. And I fought tooth and nail a long time ago to get us out of the hood and out of apartments and like get us in a really nice, decent house in a really nice neighborhood. And it was great. We had everything we wanted, and well, most of everything we wanted, and definitely everything we needed ish. Boat in the garage, leather furniture, big screen, nice backyard. The kids all had the power tool, power wheels and stuff, and we had really, really nice new finance cars. and we pretty much let that whole life go and bought a camper and started kind of following after the father. And for about a year, we got back into a house, and I think the reason we got out of the camper is Steph had gotten pregnant, and we had it was a pretty small camper we were in, and we had three littles, plus me and her, and she was pregnant, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna work, and she's like, yeah, and we ended up getting this really tiny POS house for like I don't know, it was like $300 or $500 a month. It was terrible, but whatever. It was a place to live. And then we ended up getting a really nice house a few months later. But yeah, after that, it was just kind of another punch in the mouth about renting, and we ended up buying this one. And I got this. This is a 32-foot fifth wheel, and I got this for about $3,000. It had a couple little leaks, and the lady didn't have any keys. She didn't know anything about it. She's like, I couldn't live in it, and they were trying to build their dream home, and instead of living in this while they built their dream home, she's like, I just couldn't do it. They went and rented a place, and so she didn't really care about this at all. She wanted it off her property, and she's asking 45. These same models were going for about, oh shoot, probably like I think $9,000. And man, super blessed. Got this thing. It is so well built that me and my wife and three littles have not told, and we've had dogs in here, puppies and shit. So, and it hasn't got destroyed yet, which is amazing that it's still holding together and that it's still pretty livable. But we have a couple acres north of here, and it's super duper in the boonies. It's off grid, and it's kind of close to Shofar Mountain, sorta ish, but it was cool living off grid. There was a lot of freedom with it, but there's a lot to living off grid that people that you don't know until you go do it. Because like there's a little bit off grid, and then there's like all the way off grid, and we were all the way off grid. There's no power, there's no water, there's no sewer, there's nothing. I mean, and my closest store there was 45 minutes away. I think there was a little store that was about 30. But I mean, if we didn't have neighbors that had wells, we would have been in bad shape. It would have probably not worked out, but we didn't really have enough solar. We didn't really have any rainwater catchment set up, so we were hauling water all the time, and it was really tough. And we were having to run the generator a lot in the summer. It was really expensive on gas. So it was tough. We did it for about a year and a half, I guess. And I say we, mostly I was working out of town a lot. Not the whole time, but a lot. Probably 6 or 8 months of that. I was out of town for at least 3 days a week. And Steph and the kids were usually home. And that was tough times. But work kind of pushed me to where we're at now. And I finally got up there and got our camper and got it down here, and we left it unattended for, like a year or so. I mean, not totally. We'd go up there and hang out or spend the night or whatever, but it hadn't been maintained. And last year it froze pretty good, and hot water heater cracked. Fittings on the hot water heater cracked. Both faucets in the bathroom and the kitchen both cracked, and the valve on the back of the toilet cracked. And so yeah, it was super duper. Like, I'd turn the water on and I'd find another leak. I'd turn the water on, another leak. And so the hot water heater sucks, dude, because like to get one, they're like $400 or $500. And now they make an instant hot water heater for campers now, which is super cool, but I think they're pretty new on the market, and I'm a little leery to get one. And my brother T had one that he shot with a bow and arrow on on accident a couple times, and so he gave it to me. He goes, "Hey man, if it works, you can have it." And I'm like, "All right." So I don't think any of the internals got hit. I didn't see anything, so I'm hoping, because it's a really good model. I actually talked him into buying that one. I don't know if you guys saw on Baron and Pennett's videos back in the day. He's got a really luxurious outhouse, which is now kind of the team room and the storage. But I did a bunch of the siding and an addition on that, and when he was setting it up for water, Um, he says, well, what do you want me to get? And I said, well, get a tankless. And he goes, well, which one? And I sent him a link. He goes, all right. And so that thing sat out there for like a year and a half. And he was practicing for some training we were going to, some survival training, shooting a bow. And he ended up hitting the hot water box and didn't even know it. And so, bless me, because we need a hot water heater. And this is a cool instant hot water heater. It's a propane one. And yeah, like taking a, I don't know if you guys ever been camping or glamping in a camper, but the hot water tanks don't really last that long, man. So if you got long hair or a beard or you're a big dude and you got like scrub dirt off of you, you're gonna run out of hot water before you're done for sure. Um, and if anybody else got to take a shower, they're gonna be waiting about 30 minutes or so. And that's kind of the way it is. But this thing is never ending. I've actually used this same model on, I think, 3 different off-grid cabins that I worked on. Well, 2 that I worked on, and then one my brother got, and it's the same kind we use, but same setup. I think they're actually putting another one in another big cabin we did for off-grid. But yeah, so I've got to get a couple faucets and some guts for the toilet, and hook the hot water heater up, that's all custom stuff I got to do. And then we can move in because everything else I think is pretty much ready here. It's all clean. Um, yeah, yeah, and we can't wait because the other camper we're in, the campers are built in different qualities and for different lengths of stay. The camper that we have, that we own, that's a fifth wheel, you can live in this thing. You could take your whole family and go somewhere for a month in it. And no problem, tons of room. You're gonna have enough food. It's got pantries and tons of cupboards, and the storage is phenomenal in this one. It's so good. And then it's got like a little bunkhouse in the back for the kids. It's got a private master up front. It's got a bathroom that's neither here nor there. You can go comfortably in the bathroom, and a vanity that's separate. It's really well laid out with decent materials. And the one that we're staying in right now is really kind of a weekend warrior one. If you have more than maybe like 3 days worth of stuff, and you've got the capacity of like how many beds there are in there, you're gonna be out of room if you have more than 3 days worth of stuff. And we've been living in it for years, so it's pretty cluttery, and there's not really there's nowhere to put stuff. So we're super duper blessed to have this thing down here and be getting ready to put it in there. Let me catch up on the comments. You guys been just jamming away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I should tell you guys the story about how we got our land and how cool that is, because it was really a yaw thing for sure. Um, Especially, we're like poor people, man. We're never balling like big time where we've got a couple grand sitting in the bank or nothing like that. We were always check to check. Um, there's times where we got a little bit, but it ain't like that. Kind of expensive to commute to work. Yeah, solar showers are dope, but not in the winter. Not so much in the winter. And yeah, you can like go to um, you can go to like state parks and stuff like that and get a park pass and go take a shower there. But dude, we weren't close to anything like that. Yeah, our property's, I mean, shit, our property's 5 miles down a dirt road, or a whole bunch of dirt roads, really, not just one, and gates and all kinds of stuff to get back there. And I mean, there's nothing out there except for some other Israelites and some tweakers because they're freaking everywhere. Shalom, encouraging community. Yeah, winter in campers is tough, dude, because everything in these things will freeze, dude. And they make like Arctic versions of these, but just I feel like no matter what you do, you're gonna have troubles in the winter with campers. If it's not, depending where you're at, if you're in a little campground or something, it's probably not as bad. But if you're like rural or way off in the sticks, when it's cold, every critter out there when it starts getting cold is trying to find a place to hold up for the winter, and they just love campers, man. That's just like their jam. They've been up underneath the pinning underneath and chewing on. Yeah, it's just bad. They get into everything. We've been pretty fortunate this one. They haven't really tore this one up. We've been blessed, but we have had issues with them in the camper, not just tearing stuff up, but getting in here and just getting into stuff. I mean, we got 4 or 5 cabinets that they never made it into, which is awesome because it would have sucked. But I had 4 or 5 cabinets that they never got high enough to get into any of it, and that stuff's that food's been up there for like I don't know how long, a long time. But let's see, what are you guys talking about? Yeah, truck stop showers, bro. I can't even do those anymore, man. When I was out there running amok, that was like one of the places I went to get loaded, and I'm just not doing it. Plus, there's always weirdos there for sure, man. Truckers are creepos. Yeah, hay bale walls. You know that's cool about hay. If you put straw underneath your camper or even like around your cabin in the winter, that stuff when it starts breaking down, it puts off like a real good thermal heat. Um, but again, you end up with animals trying to make nests in it, and that shit sucks, you know. So yes and no. I think Brother Dudley, he got some straw, and when it was like, I think it was in the low teens or single digits, um, his IBC tote valves were freezing, and I was like, hey, dude, I got a trick for you. Why don't you take them little cheap dollar hand warmers and tape it to the bottom of it, and that heat will rise and keep that thing defrosted. They last for like 12 hours. And he did that, and then he coupled it with like piling on a bunch of straw. And he said it lasted for like 2 or 3 days just on that one because it just kind of held the heat in. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's like, those are little off-grid hacks, like how to keep your stuff from freezing in the wintertime. Yeah, 7's pushing it, homie. I mean, 5, and it's tight, but we can do it. Of course, when the kids get a little bit bigger, they start getting into teens, it might be tough. But hopefully by then I've got a couple cabins built, um, and that'll be all right. I mean, shoot, I got, yeah, I got some families. They got 6, and they live in a cabin, and there's 6 of them in there, and it's not bad. They do all right. Yeah, there's hundreds of good truckers and a few weirdos. Yeah, I'm tracking. I just seem to attract weirdos or assholes because I don't know if that's just my bad attitude or what, but I seem to attract not so good stuff sometimes, especially when I'm out there in the world. Yeah, the darkness doesn't comprehend the light, and it my act right ain't that always been that good. Yeah, off grid, dude. So like camper hacks. So like I got a window like right here on the side, and it's a really big window. And so what I was thinking about doing was I was gonna build like a fire shack, and I was gonna put a platform and then put a wood stove outside this window in like a small structure with decent ventilation, just so it's not melting the side of the camper or anything like that. But then pipe the hot air in um, with the fan without having to like have a wood stove in here, because I'll tell you what, the wood stoves, man, in these things, I don't know, it's just sketchy. They make cool little ones, but like if they're small, you just got to feed them all the time, and it's kind of a headache. Especially, I could see that on the Sabbath being a real pain in the ass, having to keep putting wood in that thing every hour. Yeah, there's gonna come a time where everybody's gonna have to live like, well. So like let's get into it, because the time's approaching, and that's gonna be my opinion. And I don't think there's a lot of people that I super duper love and hang out with all the time that don't see it that way. But I definitely feel that the end is near. Now, so like I do feel like the heat's going to get turned up quite a bit. And I think since COVID, it's just sped up the whole process. A lot of people kind of woke up, and I think it was harder for the BS to get passed around, and it just turned the heat up and the pressure up on everybody. And so everybody's watching what people are doing and saying, and the world's just getting twisted on its axles, man. And then wars and rumors of wars, and earthquakes, and yeah, I don't know, man. When you look at Revelations, for me, it almost seems like we're in the first seal kind of thing, and for me, I don't want to get all doom report. That's way in the beginning, dude. That's before like stuff gets really bad, and I feel like maybe we've been in the birth pains for a long time, and we're so used to how crazy the world is, but I don't think anybody's ever noticed. And I think part of that is got to do with the theory of you know a frog in a pot of water. When you turn it up really slow, and it starts to slowly boil over time, he'll just stay in there because he doesn't notice the temperature slowly increasing. If you throw him in a boiling one, he'll jump right out. But the other way is what I was saying. And so for me, I think we're accustomed to the BS to a certain degree, um, and just kind of, well, it's just the way it is. And I think that a lot of people have that attitude, and I don't think that's. I think this is kind of like there's so much bullshit and crap going on with people killing kids and adrenochrome and all this weird stuff that goes on in the world. That's just evil. I think that the Father's probably really fed up with it, and I don't think it'll be long before Messiah comes back and lays waste. But there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens before that. And in that time, like, yeah, it's not going to be easy for us, if you've got to, like, sign your soul away, mark the beast, or whatever that looks like. If you're trying to dabble in the system that's created around you, and that system's got nothing to do with the Father, I'm gonna opt out. And that to me, it's gonna make you a rebel. It's gonna make you a target, and I expect that, and I expect because of my faith, there's gonna be persecution. And shit, man, I hate that, but to me, I guess I expect that. Um, and I trust the Father that He's going to steward us through it. I don't think it's going to be super easy, but I think we'll be all right. Yeah, for sure, Skip. Let him deal with all that. I mean, we're gonna have to deal with it to a degree, but I think that us being set apart is like these are like key indicators on who we're going to be around and what that looks like. And I think that the worse it gets, the more of us will have to start mingling with other tribes and other communities more and more and more, because just for the simple fact that many hands makes light work, and bartering, trading, hunting, uh, fellowship, like it's gonna be sparse for all that kind of stuff. um, and who you got, and I would rather do business with Israel than anybody in the world. Like, that's not my jam. Yeah, that's like all the reasons that the Father moved me out of the big cities is like the same reasons that um, I don't want to mingle with them today. Um, they ain't got nothing. I don't have anything I can relate to them with. And I had tons of freaking awesome friends that I loved, that were good human beings, but they weren't Yah's people. And no matter how much I loved them or tried to share with them gently or firmly, they don't want nothing to do with Yeshua. They don't want to follow the Father. They want to follow after what they want to follow after, and it is what it is. Or they want to follow after whatever's comfortable and easy, because some of them are, you know they believe in Jesus, but they don't want to hear biblical truth. They only want to hear feel good messages. They don't want to hear real stuff. It really is hard to believe, like to imagine Sodom and Gomorrah was worse, but yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it was probably more free willish, and more lawlessness than what we have now. But I don't think we're far off. I mean, we're like we're like that close to like having a civil war, and like our government fucking failing. The dollar. I don't know what the dollar is going to do, but our government's falling off really bad. I don't think anybody trusts our government anymore, and if they do, then they're on some woke ass shit anyhow. Yeah, for sure, man. If he doesn't call him, but I mean, I still, the reason I started this channel is because I'm fishing, and that's what I am. I'm a fisher of men, and if I can cast a line out and get a bite, if I can bring them in and show them just a little bit of truth, just plant a seed. It ain't up to me if it grows or if I get to water it, but if I can plant a seed, then I've done my job, and that might be the best I can do. And for people that are close to come into the way, or interested, and they know something's not right with church, me and my wife are like the bridge. So we're like the bridge between one world to another, from one understanding, one faith, one type of people to another. And And that's kind of how we've always been. That's always been our jam, and it's just more so now that we understand kind of what he uses us for. You know, he's always kind of used us for the same purpose, just in different ways. And now it's for the kingdom, which I love. There's nothing like it. So, I mean, obligated, sure. I'm just talking about personal conviction, bro. I was one of those people that wanted more and didn't know it. Um, I'll give you a for instance. There's people out there that are searching for truth and know they're not getting fed at their church. There's people out there searching for the Father and not finding him in these places that they're going and not understanding what's next. And all it takes is one person to just point you in the right direction, and that's it, you know. And if you're supposed to be there, you're going to be there, you know. And the Father uses us when he wants to use us. All I'm trying to do is show up and be available for that. That's all I'm trying to do, because I don't have any outcome. You know, it's, if I got one person and I did this, I did 10,000 videos, then I fucking won. Period. That's how I feel about it. One person, just one, then I win. That's it, and I've done my job. But I'm gonna keep trying because uh, I know there's people out there. You know, there just is, and that's where my heart's at with it, and I can't not do it. Um, and also, I'm not going to put my lamp under under a basket. You know, I'm not. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to hide off somewhere where it's safe and comfortable. I'm gonna go out there and like see people and do things. You know, and interact with the world so that they can see that I'm set apart, see that I'm different, see that the Father has taken somebody that's got all these freaking stupid tattoos and changed their heart, changed their mindset, you know, changed their dynamic, changed everything about me. Like the, my son and my parents don't even recognize me anymore. They're just like, man, my dad's. They're like, that kid's crazy, you know. They're like, he's. I love him so much. I want him to come home, and they're like, I don't know why you won't come home. You're doing so good. And I'm like, no, that's the reason I'm not coming home, because you guys aren't. You're not his people, and that's not up to me. I love you, and I pray that you would be, but that's not up to me. That might sound harsh, but man, I lost hundreds and hundreds of friends coming to the way. And I lost tons of people that I fellowshipped with. I lost people that I've been in friends with for 20 years. I lost most of my family because we're too, you know, and not like, because me and Steph were already kind of loud and obnoxious. But then you stack some, you know, religious extremists is what they would consider us on top of that, and it's too much for them, you know. They don't know nothing about that stuff, and I really have tried. You know, just like anybody that first comes the way, you're so zealous that you want to tell everybody, and I think when we're early on, like maybe we should be quiet for a little bit, because you don't quite have all the stuff. Not that I got it all today, but you don't quite have all the stuff to like really answer some deeper questions. You're just excited that you found the way and that it's real. And I had to tell everybody, just like my wife did. And I think that one of the things in all of that was you unintentionally kind of burn bridges with people because you're either overzealous and it turns them away, or you don't quite have enough of the biblical understanding to articulate how the truth manifests and what the words actually go together, the scriptures that go together, and you only beat up just a couple, and can't you see it? Look, it says it right here, and they're like, I don't see it. And you're like, well, I don't know. But like my family, like I didn't grow up in a family that prayed or went to church or any of that stuff. I think my sister went to church a little bit, but she's like, if I go to church and they talk about hell, we could just go to a different church. We don't want to hear that. That's not what God is to us. He wouldn't do that to people. And I'm like, I mean, I get that there's like that's not the thing, but yeah, read the beginning of the book. He smokes people that are evil. So yeah, we just thought my family is a no go, but Steph's family, they're believers and they love the Lord. They love Jesus and God and all that, and it's their lingo, right? And for me, they probably think that um, they probably lightweight think we're in like a cult or like in some false religion thing, or that we're trying to be Jewish because they don't really want to talk about it because they don't understand it, but they're not totally against it either. So that's cool, and there's hope. And I really hope that her family comes to the way, because I think that would be so good. They're such awesome people, man. Beautiful people. They're not that my family's terrible, but they're not like my family. They're awesome. I have really good family. Yeah, my kids are phenomenal. My dad and my stepmom are really good people. They took good care of me best they could, but they're not my kind of people, and that they're definitely not like believers in anything really, which is sucky. But I tried, so you can only do what you do. A prophet is it's not revered or revered in his hometown or some shit like that. Basically saying if your hometown's not going to hear you if you're trying to do stuff like for the Father. All right, gotta catch up on some of these. Come on, Brad. Nice, baptizing people. Hey, you guys. I don't know how many of you guys went to the ruckus, but dude, my youngest, he was at the ruckus, and my kids will always say, "Hey, I want to get baptized." When they see people going in the water, they just, they naturally were like, "Oh, I want to do that," And it's like, no, you gotta know what it means. And my youngest, he's like, "I know what it means, Dad." And I said, "What do you mean you know what it means?" And he goes, "He's 6," and he goes, "I know what it means." And I said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "How do you know what it means?" He goes, "Dad, I know what it means. I don't know how to say the words, but I know what it means." And so I ran him down. Hey, this is what it means: is that you're giving up yourself to Him, and that you're repenting, and you're turning your heart and giving your heart over to the Father, and you're repenting, and you're asking Yeshua to kind of steer the bus for you, and He's gonna be your director. And I kind of broke down like what sin is, which is not keeping the commandments, and he's a kid, so he's only got a couple. But that it's now his responsibility to learn. And he was reading the Bible last night, which is phenomenal because he's 6. Um, but he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Are you sure you want to do it? Because it's a commitment. It means that you're all the way in." And he goes, "I want to do it, Dad. I'm ready." And I said, "Okay." And I went over and I told TJ, I was like, "Hey, Josiah wants to get baptized." And he goes, "I'll be right there, bro." And he comes running out after us. And yeah, my littlest got baptized, and it was his time. Why it was his time and not the other ones, I don't know. But I knew it was his time. And I knew it was genuine what he was saying, and his heart condition was right. He wasn't trying to get his friends to see. He wasn't looking for a high five. He just wanted to be right with the Father, whatever that meant. He didn't care. He wanted to be right with the Father. He wanted to be on Team Yeshua, and I thought that was, yes, that's it. And it was good. It was really, I trying not to tear up thinking about it. Awesome, man. That's freaking cool, dude. You should do it again, Palmetto. I've done it 3 times, and I did it with the right intent every time, except for those were the first ones were kind of like I was giving my life. And yes, you're getting baptized, kind of turning from your sins. Your old man's dying, and as you come up, you're being resurrected, just like you're becoming new when you come out of that water. Your old man's kind of dying in there, and yeah, that's a wonderful thing. But like for me, I knew that when I came to the way, I needed to be baptized because it was something totally different. And um, I had my brother Alex do it. I was like, "Man, you know what? I want to get baptized." And I went down to a river not too far from you, Billy, and got baptized. And it was awesome. And then I baptized my wife after that. which was phenomenal. And that's the way it should have been. And that's it. And it's not like you can do it too many times. I just think it, it, it wasn't every time it was meaningful, and I knew it was a pivoting point. Once I was in the way, it was kind of like I want to be in this way, and I want this to be that's it for me. Yeah, were you catching any fish or just hanging out? What time is it? Oh, so okay, it's only 9:30. Yeah, I've been getting the fishing fever really bad lately, man, and I uh, I I like all kinds of fishing, but boat fishing for me is kind of where it's at. And shoot, man, I haven't found any nice spots to go on the bank anywhere in the South. I mean, every one of them's rugged or muddy or snakes or ticks and steep rocks and just nasty. And I ain't young no more. My knees don't like it, man. I'd rather get out there, use the fish finder, and check my depth and temperature of the water, and use live bait and drift, and all that kind of stuff. I kind of got sprung doing that. Let's see, we got 16 people here still. Got them caught up on all the comments. Well, that's it, guys. I guess we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. I just wanted to get on and hang out with you guys for a little bit. We will be on, and I don't know, we might have somebody on with us on Shabbat, Friday Night Live. We'll see what happens. I've been trying to get on there with a couple bros, and every time I get on there with Shalom Scott, every time I get on there with somebody, we just have the best time. I did one with Bob not that long ago, and that one was super duper fun on Across the Table with Bob. That was really good. And we had a lot of people popping. It was weird because there was like people that were just randos showing up in the live, and they like there was two guys in that one that were really asking sincere questions, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was a really good time. Yeah, man. Trying and doing. I don't know what state you're in, man, but if you're ever out this way, dude, you want to get baptized, hit me up. We got training and stuff you can come to out here. Give yourself an excuse. Um, yeah, Scott, you're kind of catching the tail end. We were just about to wrap it up, man. Just telling stories and hanging out and talking about all kinds of stuff. Um, yeah. Oh, what's my wedding ring? And then this one's just like it's a motorcycle ring. It's nothing fancy. It's just a little eagle with some BS on it. Yeah, he does get a lot of yeah, SK2 for sure. He does get a lot of trolls, but there was a couple on there. We were getting some good bites fishing, and it was good. There was a lot of the comments, the live chat. The guys were helping kind of direct them to. I mean, there was a couple really nasty trolls on there, just like hail Satan and all kinds of weird shit. But the mods freaking schwacked those guys pretty quick. Um, Washington. Oh, Pacific Northwest. Oh yeah, man. I freaking love it up there. Been to Seattle quite a few times to go to the Mariners game, and I think I went to a World's Fair there one time and something else. I lived in Oregon though for a while. closer to the. I lived on the coast in Lincoln City, and then I lived inland a little bit in Corvallis, and that was cool. It was a college town though, so it kind of wrong kind of hippies. I used to like hippies, but not so much anymore. They're like weirdos nowadays. Yeah, I'm fixing to cut it off anyhow. All right then, guys. Friday night. Yeah, Friday night will be on probably 7:30, I think, because we want to try to get done with dinner and all the prep day stuff. And then when we get on here, we usually are ready to like just chill and fellowship. So, uh, my wife is done with her document she did, so maybe she'll bring that out and share some of that stuff with you guys. That'll be super cool. But all right, guys, shalom. Catch you guys next time.